So that gave me a sense of believing in myself, of understanding that like I have a spot, and not because I'm the only woman, it doesn't make me less. It, on the contrary, it makes me like stand out.
Hola Mafe, buenos días, ¿cómo estás? Muchísimas gracias por darme este tiempo. Te agradezco
Hola, Ángela.
mucho y estoy segura que nos vamos a divertir mucho hablando. Oh, now I'm gonna switch to English actually.
Right, right. Well, it's my pleasure to be here.
Oh no, no,
Un placer.
the pleasure is mine. I used to talk to you in Spanish because obviously you being from Venezuela, we're so used to speaking Spanish.
We can multitask here.
Yes. Isn't it fun?
It
Like
is.
being able to switch from one language to another. Or
It is. I find it sometimes to be unconscious. Like I would be talking to somebody and then somebody passes through the street and speaks Spanish. And then I suddenly start speaking Spanish and this person looks at me like, what did you just say? And I'm like, whoa, it's crazy.
What happened to me, it was funny because it becomes so, even though I mean your English is perfect, I learned English later in life, so my accent is still very strong, but I will never get rid of my accent anyway. But what happened to me is like I was like reading, I was taking a shower and I read, in the shampoo bottle, and I was like, why do they write the same thing twice? I don't understand why. Probably was an error in the printer of the bottle. But it was like for months that I was like, why do they have the same message twice?
Oh
And
my
then
God.
one was Spanish, one was English.
That is hilarious. You were like, no, I don't know.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
my brain was like understanding the same message. So I'm like, why do they have to write the same thing twice?
That is really funny.
Right, you're right. The language is you and becomes um it becomes part of you. And yeah, so it's so funny. But thank you so much. Since I met you, I am very intrigued with your story. I love what you have done, where you are going, and I would love for you to share your story with all of us. Because I'm sure we will get inspired.
Well, if
But
I can help in any way to inspire others, bring it on.
you do it every day, I'm sure.
Oh,
So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? Who's Mafe?
so I'm an architect by trade from Venezuela. I graduated and worked at an architectural firm and created my own, let's say, studio in Venezuela, and life was thriving. And, you had my friends, and I surfed and adventured. And eventually, at some point, the country started becoming too small for my dreams and my life to fit. So, I ventured out and stumbled upon a great opportunity to come I work for Structure Tone now, which is a construction management firm in the US, in New York. And I leaped into the new adventure and moved to a new country all by myself. And it's been 4 years now of me, moving through the waters of construction management, exploring this amazing and abundant country. So that is how my life has run into where I am in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, that sounds interesting. How is it? So why the architecture? Why did you choose that field?
Interesting. Good question. I think that the biggest portion of it was me in school. I was really good at I don't know how to say dibujo técnico. I guess it was technical drawing that we saw in high school. And it was just, making lines and the perfectionism of like being able to represent with lines beautiful drawings, and tied to mathematics and to specific measurements. And I was really good at it, like really good at it, that my friends, my classmates would come to me and like pay me to do their assignments, and I was like, I guess I am skilled at this. So I was really always good with like designing, and I like to make jewelry, and I like to create things. But back in the day, when I was like delving into what career to study, it was like art, graphic design, and architecture was part of it. And where I come from, I guess it was thought that, or not where I come from. I mean, I'm 33, so back in the day, um, we thought that, an artist would starve, and graphic design and artist careers were not necessarily the the best option. So architecture for me was the best way to channel my artistic skills through a career based on what, society was telling me to do that would fulfill my paycheck. So that's the main reason why I went to architectural school, and I loved it. I no longer do architecture. Now I'm in construction management, but it's such a beautiful career that it gives you so many tools. It's not, I think an architect is not defined by somebody that can build houses or buildings and just design, but it gives you like just a whole overview of how to tackle a problem, like from the beginning, like the inception of a project is a conversation with the person that you're going to design for them, and you're going to attack their problems or how they live their lives, if it's residential or commercial. So it gives you a lot of like social skills, and then how to tackle these problems, and how to aesthetically, it's like so many things involved in one career. I think it's one of the most beautiful careers. I would go and study it again, even if I don't end up working as an architect. I think it opens up your mind to so many things.
Right. So that is a very good way to put things, like bringing the artistic part with the professional part. That's a brilliant idea. So when you finish your career, did you work for somebody or?
Yes, as soon as I graduated, so my best friend in Venezuela, my best friend's older brother, he was like my biggest, like my big brother too. He had just started a firm, an architectural firm in Venezuela, and he like recruited me as soon as I graduated. I went on my graduation trip, and it didn't give me a week. He's like, "You're coming to work with me." He knew my skills. He knew, I spend most of my time in the house. I graduated cum laude. So he's like, he knew I was good. So he's like, he got me, and I started working with him, and it was beautiful. We created this new company from scratch. We were like in a little space. We were only 4 people working for these. They were 3 partners that formed this firm, and we started growing. We got into a bigger building. I worked with them for like 2 years, and things were great, like a lot of great projects. It was really fun working with them. But then again, the economical crisis in Venezuela kind of like didn't what, even though they paid us what, justly,
Mhm.
it still wasn't enough because the inflation was going faster than us. So I was forced to seek for projects independently, and I again was in the right place, the right time. I used to rock climb. I'm really into sports, and I met a friend of rock climbing that he needed a partner. He did construction management, but he wanted to offer his clients art design, so he wanted to partner with an architect and start building design build. And we jumped into projects together. He got me out of the office, and he offered me, we built this, so we go 50-50, and we were making way more money. And that's how I started basically in working independently, and liberated myself from working for somebody.
Right.
And that was one of the funnest uh stages of my life. I was doing so many projects, and I would design them and build them with them. So I was on job sites, actually making sure that, not only were my designs being constructed as I was visualizing it, but I was also managing the construction. So I was on site and making sure that, that's how I learned how to manage the job site, and make sure that, I knew everybody and what the role was, and keeping up on schedule, and everything was being done. So
Right.
that was,
Basically, you transition in a way. You were forced, but probably not that forced,
yeah.
from like working for somebody and becoming an entrepreneur in a way. How is
Yeah.
that? So did you enjoy that experience, Mafe?
That's one of the best things I've done. If I every time I think about it, I'm like, that was a dream job because I was my own boss. I, not only my own boss, but it was my own project. So I would go on a job site and I was like, I could spend the whole day in there, but it was my vision. So I was just like so detailed oriented and I could like change things like, you know what, I changed my mind. Let's before we even start building something, let's not put this door here. Why don't we just move it to a court? So it was like it was beautiful to be your own self. But sadly, when a country collapses, it's got to do what you got to do.
I know. I know, yeah, um that is sad in a way, but at the same time it gives you a different path in life, and probably that's the path that you needed to follow, right?
Yeah,
Because there are still a lot of people in Venezuela, thriving, but that's their path, right? But then
correct.
the path was to come here to New York.
Correct. Yeah, it gives you perspective and it's a lot of understanding of the present moment, like a trust that you are where you are for a reason. And I'm very grateful and I love New York and my life here has been amazing. And it's a balance thing. I might not be designing and building my own projects, but I have un met so many people in this huge company and I network and I've made huge friends and I have a more stable life and I love my apartment and I travel a lot. So there's like so many other things that this freedom of an economically stable country gives me as opposed to so there's you win and lose.
Yes.
You choose your battles.
So what are the things that you learned when in the past that probably has helped you? What thing or several things that have helped you uh, living this life in New York? Is there something that come to your mind that you said, "Oh, I'm glad that I learned that in Venezuela because it has helped me here for
Mm.
X or Y."
I think sort of yes, several things actually. Uh so one of them is like in the construction world related as a woman. I've realized that I've encountered a lot of other younger women in the field that they don't find themselves. They don't like it. Most in my company, most of the women work in the I mean not most, but there's way more men in the field than there's women. And in the office, you could say the balance is it's a little more balanced, but I've at least the woman that I encountered, there was a lot of um I don't want to say fear, but there is an energy of like feeling less mistreated. They overlook you. And it's normal in this community of men dominating world. And I've saw that being that was something that Venezuela gave me or my family, how I was raised, but where I come from, like you as a woman, even though there's less women in construction as men, just like here, you have like you move around with a sense of power and like I don't know if it's like how we were raised in our houses and my family, like women, my aunts, my grandmothers, my mom, they were like who we call it who wore the pants in the house, like so that gave me a sense of believing in myself, of understanding that like I have a spot and not because I'm the only woman, it doesn't make me less. It on the contrary, it makes me like stand out. And I carried that with me here. And when I walk to a job site and people are like, oh, like they look at you like the only woman, like, oh, what does she know? This little girl. But it's your attitude. Like I would walk and have to like sometimes you have to use your voice and carry this role a little stronger so you can prove that you know what you're talking about. But it's a belief thing, it's like believing that you have the same reasons to be there and you're in the same level as everybody else, not believing less because so it was a mentality thing that I think helped me a lot to move in the field and stand out and not just feel like because I'm the only one I would sit and go low. So that was one of the things. And the other I would say coming from a country where it was collapsing and the opportunities were ever because I had to stop doing what I was doing because there was no money, people weren't buying, people weren't designing, people weren't building, remodeling, people weren't doing anything. So I was like, what do I do now with my skills? There's nothing to do with it. And moving to a country that is so abundant in opportunities has showed me not to, I don't take things for granted. There's so many opportunities, and I sit down and I just see them passing and I take them. And I've lived a pretty happy life, even though I'm, maybe sometimes I get sad because I'm not creating and I'm not being using my architectural skills, but I can do it through other things. And I'm a photographer as well, and I go to art shows, and I find other ways to fulfill everything that I want to do in with my life. But it's such an abundant country for opportunities, and I think a lot of people take them for granted. They don't see them because they also don't know what it's not having any opportunities. And that is one of the biggest things that I think has moved me so quick up in the company and like everywhere I go, because I just see an opportunity and I take it and I do the best I can and I learn new skills and I'm always reinventing myself. And a lot of people, it's like, oh, I don't know how to do that, and fear pushes them away. And it's like, when you come from a place that these opportunities are not laid out in front of you like that, you do not take for granted an opportunity crossing your path. So
Those are very two very important topics, Mafe, because I mean, to your first point, it is what would be the word? Overwhelming in one way, but also stressful in another way when you come to this country, because I kind of lived the same experience. I came here, I worked for a company, I was the only woman there, and I get your point where you need, and I think I was one of those girls that felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not, I don't have that voice, my voice. I didn't have the voice at the beginning, and then obviously as I grew up and I got older and all of that, it has changed. And at the beginning, when you are an immigrant,
yes.
I have an accent. Actually, I didn't like, my English was not that good when I started here. So it was on top of everything. It was another extra layer
Yeah.
to make me
But
feel.
the thing is that you did have a voice always, all the time. It was there.
It
But we
was not.
we forget. We just focus on something else at the moment. And I think that's a huge the biggest power is like, just remember that you always carry it with you and you can just like bring it out. Just
That is a
trusting.
good point. Yes, you always, like, we all have a voice,
Yeah.
definitely. Like, just let people.
Not shy it out.
Yes, just let people hear it. And to your second point, because I come from a third world country too, it is amazing how um, opportunities are out here for everybody, not only for women, but for everybody, right? And it all depends on yourself if you want to take them or not. So I always say that luck is at the intersection between opportunity and being prepared for the situation. And I love what you are doing, that you are constantly educating yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
when the opportunity comes, you are ready,
Yeah.
right? Because if it comes and you are not ready, it just will pass.
Correct.
So, so that's something that maybe would help people that are listening to us. Like, be always ready, because I think you are an eternal student, right?
Aren't we all?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, we all, like, I don't know if everybody really is always learning. I don't know. I find that on you, like, you are constantly learning, not only about construction, but I think you are a life learner.
Yeah, I mean, I think I say it like, aren't we all? Because I think, we're in constant expansion, so there's always something to learn around in our lives. We're never the same person. We're not the same person we were yesterday. But I guess you're right. It's my also like my Sagittarius energy that makes me want to eat the whole world. And yeah, I think I mentioned you outside of this how I work out and I go to the gym listening to like philosophy podcasts. Like, I love learning. It's my favorite hobby. I'm like always like, there's not enough time in this world to read all the books and to learn all the knowledge. So it's like always on that.
That's awesome. Could you share with us, Mafe, like the good things and the not so good things of your experience in the industry?
Um, let's start with the not so good things. I think, like I mentioned, it's that part where women can be underlooked, and you just have to trust that your voice and that you know what you're saying and not shy away of feeling and believing what the energy out there can make you feel, because you know men support themselves, and then they kind of think, I don't know if they feel threatened or they sincerely in the field think that you just maybe less because you're a woman. So that's always like, it's always going to be a battle. Even when you believe in yourself, you always have to get there and just like remind yourself, like, trust yourself. I know what I'm doing. I know what I do. I know who I am. And it's a constant battle, even in the office, and not any longer in the construction space, in the field. You go to meetings and it's just like a bunch of executives. I mean, maybe one female executive, and it's always having to prove more. That, like, you can have two people that know the same things, but maybe a man is going to be listened to first or trusted first, so you have to like push yourself a little harder to prove that you're in the same point. So you always have to do the extra legwork. I think that's one of the biggest challenges in the construction world. um and I guess also the how do we call it, the rigidity of the lifestyle of construction, where there's not, we're building, it's a little old school too, like the mentality of like the office space and coming, like it's just maybe not the most creative environment for my perspective as an architect and as a creative soul of thriving in a space where we're builders. So I guess that is the downside. Um, the bright
But
side,
to your point, Mafi, sorry to interrupt you.
don't worry, it's a conversation.
Yeah, also it is, I think from the woman perspective, obviously, like now there are more men getting into like taking care of kids and all of that, but it's still women are the majority, is the person that the caregiver in the family. And um, the industry still has a way to go in order to be more flexible uh, with women in general in terms of family and other things outside work, right?
Yeah,
I was actually reading a post yesterday from Women in Construction, a group that I belong to, and one of them was asking, like, I think her and her husband are both in the trades, and they have a toddler, and when the toddler is sick, like they both have to go to the field, so it becomes a challenge because
yeah,
so um, that's something that I guess we had discussed before, how the industry could be a little bit more flexible in general.
yeah, yeah, like more female energy is needed of caring and
Right,
not so rigid and cold.
right, exactly. And I believe that one of the ways to achieve that is to have women empowered, right? Like in the C level or in the higher
It
level.
gives more perspective. It gives diversity of thought is the future. You need to have different outlooks and different perspectives to able to thrive and have better ideas. That's a fact.
Right. So tell us now about the good things.
So the good things is the amount of people, I don't know if that's also related to the industry or just me new in this new role in this new city, but there's so many people and beautiful people that you meet in this industry, and you have, as my role, I'm a MWDBE manager for structure tone. So that's I manage minority women disadvantaged business enterprise program in my company. So I'm constantly in networking and outreaching and in events, network finding capable woman-owned and minority-owned subcontractors to work with us. So this for me has been a roller coaster of amazing. I also love connecting with people and having conversations. So I run into so many personalities and so much people that that have so many rich stories on how they started from nothing, or like the electrical company that inherited from somebody's her grandparents, or started from scratch, or the only woman in the whole field of carpentry, and nobody believed in her, and now she's one of the big. So there's like so much inspiration and stories, and finding, you know it's not for the weak to be a woman in construction and owning your own business. So it's been very, very inspiring. And also working with this company in New York, you see these amazing projects that I was never exposed to in Venezuela. Like here we're one of the biggest construction companies in the country for interior remodelings. So here in New York, most of our clients we're doing headquarters for like Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Wells Fargo, all these big guys. So you go to, like last week I had a walkthrough and we went to Google Martha, which is one of Google peers projects. They bought like a bunch of blocks and it's beautiful, and then you see these spaces and these designs and it's like wow, I love like being able to be in the insides of all these companies. There's so much variety and diversity and like where what type of job sites you can go and see and explore. Like the city is always moving, always doing something new. Like it's amazing. Even in the pandemic we're still building and people doing stuff, so it's been very inspiring.
Yeah. So since you are mentioning that you are part of the the diversity, you are managing the diversity at your company. What do you think would be one of one way to bring more diversity into the industry? What would you do? How do you see that we could inspire more? I would say women because we are both women, but in general, diversity into the industry.
I think it just being exposed to, so whether it's like me having one-on-one conversations or creating events, like I like to do meet and greets and bring people here and have, like I mentioned, like there's an electrical company that is woman owned, is one of the biggest in the city. uh I have a podcast with her, we invite her to talks, just like I think going and joining organizations where there's a lot of minorities or women in construction and creating events where you have a spokesperson and you can see people talking about sharing their experiences, basically humanizing the possibilities and making you realize that it's not so scary, that it's not a man dominating world anymore, that you can do it if you want to. That I think it's mostly that, just like constantly being exposed to other women executives. So like if there is one in the company, for example, I'm part of a group called like a woman in construction inside our company and part of the board. And there's like a female executive that we love to like invite her to panels, and we invite all the women and we have her talking and share her experience. So we get inspired and we're like, oh, she's there. She made it. We can do it too. So I think that's the biggest way of like gathering people. It's just like putting yourself out there and showing how easy, like it's possible. Just like it's not scary.
Kind of representation, right?
Yes.
I wonder, have you had the opportunity to talk to people who are not in the industry? Because obviously you've been talking to people that are in the industry, but I wonder if you had the opportunity to talk to people that are not in the industry and get their perspective about the industry. Have you had any?
No, not not like in subjects in related to, you mean like in diversity?
Yes, like I wonder if you just in one of your networking events you have seen a girl and that she's not sure if she wants to get into the industry, and you have talked to her about her perspective of what is making her hesitant to come into the industry. So I was just wondering what would be the points where that would make her hesitant to join the industry.
Interesting. Well, I guess we could consider, I guess, not the industry being construction management,
Yeah, or
because I, for example, I'm part of a ACE mentorship, and we sit once a week. There's a program, it's like a 6 months program where we bring in high school kids and we're mentoring them through the architectural construction engineering fields to, one day become one of us. And most people like to go into architecture, right? So, but I'm their representative as construction management. And when we bring them to the office, we actually had a walkthrough yesterday and we brought all these kids, and a lot of girls approached me and they're like, wow, you're cool. Like, how do you, I thought this was only men. And that's how I realized, like, you just have to, again, show them and put yourself out there and show how, we did walkthroughs. We show them, we walk into the field and they see me, knowing what I'm talking about and showing the construction site and exposing them to a woman in construction. And it's not scary. It's not just something that men do. And I think it's that is the biggest reason that makes them doubt about going to construction, because they think that there's like it's not a place for a woman. So we
That,
need more women out there.
that definitely. That's one of the reasons why I'm making all these interviews and having these conversations, because I feel like sharing one story at a time can help others realize that is what you are saying exactly. It's
Yeah.
not, there is a stereotype out there that we need to break, right? We need to break that stereotype. It's good to be in this industry. We need more of us in this industry. So we need to break that stereotype. And that is interesting what you are saying with high schoolers. I have a high schooler and they give them all these, like they can visit schools, like technical schools with all these different like paths. And I was asking her, like, what would you like to? Obviously, they have engineering, construction, but they also have cosmetics and, like nails and, things like that. And I was asking her, like, like most of her girlfriends, what, what classes or what fields they wanted to get to know to. And they were all very female, like, beauty tips, cosmetics, hair, things like that. And I was asking her, like, how many of them picked like robotics or STEM, right? Or engineering. And she said, none of them. And it is sad to hear that. And that's another thing that I wonder how we can, how can we make the industry fun? Because I feel that younger generations don't feel that this industry is fun. And I can see why. I feel like we need to be more fun so we could attract more of this young generation, because
Yeah.
go to like marketing events or all these other industry events, retail events, they seem a lot more fun. Like the vibe is different. Like the construction events are a lot more like boring, if you will. So
Yeah.
I always think how we can present a more fun industry to the younger generation so they feel more attracted or they feel an appeal to come and join us. So I think
Yeah.
we have a lot of work to do on that. On
Yeah.
that.
Mostly internally, because the job is fun. Like in the job site, the job itself is fun.
Yeah.
The maybe the environment in the community is like, because it's still like, I think what we were talking about, it's like the rigidity of like the old school type of work office, and that's what makes it sometimes not so fun. But it's like just the environment that has to change.
And I think people, I mean, to your point earlier, I think people are very nice. Like my experience in the industry, like I always work, the guys were super nice. They were very respectful. Like it was fun. I really enjoyed going
Yeah.
to the field. It was hard when my daughter was sick or things like that, that I didn't have that flexibility. But when I was in the field, it was fun to be. It was fun to be with people. Everybody's so down to earth, and I really enjoyed being in the field. You know, working with us. The people are nice. I feel.
Yes.
Okay, just let's switch for a little bit the topics. Oh well, no, maybe going back to the mentor. Like I love that you are mentoring high schoolers. How about you? Have you had any mentors? Do you believe in mentors? Do you think they are important in life?
Have had mentors. I do think they're important in life. I've had mentors, and again, it comes to that same, like, not only somebody that can expose you to the fact that, I have a mentor. She's one of the female executives in the company, and she exposed me to the fact that there is female executives up there, and like it's a possibility. Um, but it's it's having somebody, I think, that you admire, that you mostly, yes, that you admire, that can show you the path. When I talk to my mentor, I have multiple mentors, but the one that I have recently, she shares a lot of things with me that she would have loved somebody had shared with her. So at the end, it's a way of giving back. It's like, I think I'm always going to be part of mentorship programs, because I also, now I have mentors, but at some point in Venezuela, maybe I would have loved to have a little more guidance. So it's always like, okay, if I would have loved to have this, I'll give it to somebody else. And I'm always, you know, my eyes are very wide open when I see younger girls that I sense that can have a conversation and help them make decisions. I'm always offering my time.
Yeah. And it is so important. I guess, you know the difference between a mentor and a coach, right? And a consultant in a way. Um, because I also think that coaching on top of, besides mentoring, right? Because mentoring, they would show you what they did, how they did it, and how, they can show you their path. The coaching part is how they support you, and basically you answer your own questions, right? They just kind of guide you, but at the end of the day, you are the one who makes your own decisions and answer your own questions at the end of the day. And I wish, as you said, in countries um, like Colombia or Venezuela, we could have that more. Um, like we could do that more with our younger generation, and even here I feel like with high schoolers, for instance, that's what you are doing. I think they do need that guidance, and I think it will be a detour, or it will make their path a little bit, like they could make shortcuts, right? They don't need to experience everything, even though sometimes we do need to experience everything by ourselves, but at least have a guidance, right? And
Yeah, maybe you will experience other things, and this will shorten your path towards something.
right, right, right. Because at the end of the day, you learn from your own experiences. So, um, but sometimes it's helpful when you have somebody there guiding you, and especially in this industry, because sometimes for women, in order to let our voice be heard, probably we need that champion also that could allow us to do that, right? That would make us feel more confident to express what we think out loud,
Yeah.
right? So that's awesome, Madeline. And so tell me, what advice, or what would you tell a girl who is like hesitant to join the industry? What would you tell like one of these high schoolers that would come and tell her, like, I find the industry interesting, but I'm not sure yet? What would you tell her to inspire her to join the industry?
I would tell her to flip the view into like being uh the less than 5% in the industry, as not feeling less, but the empowerment that it gives you to, like, for me, being in the field feels so empowering to to be able to trust your voice and move around a space where you're telling all these men what to do. It's it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's very empowering. It really is, when you shift the perspective and don't feel less, just feel equal, and actually you stand out because you are probably the only woman in the field, in the job site. It's it's very empowering. You learn so much.
right.
And
How about flipping? Like, what would you tell an executive um, to make it easier for women to join the industry?
hmm, what can an executive do? I don't know, because I feel like executives, I mean, that's the reason why we now have female executives in so many female entire roles. They've opened up their perspective. I guess when I hear experience of our female executives, of how they used to move in the world here, they felt there's stories. There's always a repeating factor of feeling ignored, like in a men in a room full of men sitting, and the only woman would be like side look. Sorry, um, but I don't feel like that happens anymore. Like now it's more of like attracting more females that want to come in, but internally we're like as an office environment, corporate, I feel like we're treated pretty equally, and things feel good.
Yeah. I guess I think because I think your company is cool. I love your company.
It's cool.
I think it's cool. I actually think that executives are very futuristic. I think they have a vision, but I don't think that that's normal in the industry. I think you are a very small percentage your company out there. I think
Yeah.
there are still a lot of stereotypes out there. There is a lot of machismo, or like the macho culture out there still. And for me, is how we can also educate, right, those executives that I mean, this better than I do. Like diversity is the way to go.
Yeah.
That's what is gonna make them improve their bottom line. That's what is gonna make like help them grow, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I would tell all these executives probably in your company. They already know it, and that is a very cool thing. And I'm so glad that being one of the biggest companies, right, in the United States, probably they can set an example, right, that others can follow.
Correct.
um
Yeah. It's
Hopefully
nice to be on this side of the fence. Yeah.
yeah. And I think you are in a very strategic position there, because being at the leading edge in general, right? And you being part of it and creating all these diversity programs and all of that, I think for you, the opportunity, the way I see it, is huge, right? Because you can really influence the industry so greatly, right? Don't you see it like that?
I
Do you
believe
see it
it.
like that? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great time to be where I am. I'm
Yeah.
very fortunate for
Yes. Yeah, I do. Like, I do see, like, now that I'm talking to you, I'm starting to see it.
it.
Like, like I never thought of that before, but I'm like, you are in such a cool company and you are at the leading edge, and you can definitely create a change. And hopefully
Yes.
companies can see that, right? Because that's another thing. Hopefully companies can see that. And I feel like maybe in the industry, they just wait and see, right? Wait and see how they do. And if they are successful, I would go for it, right? Because I don't think that in the industry, and I could be wrong, like there are not a lot of like risk takers in that. I don't know if that would be the right term to say, but like people that really take the risk to go for something new and try something new.
Yeah.
But I think you are in a very unique position where it seems that they are supporting you and you can really bring that to the industry. So I hope you create cool programs, Mafe.
I hope that too. We're on it, actually. Yeah. A
Good.
lot of good things have happened. Yeah.
And the good thing is that you love the creative part. I mean, you are very creative, a very creative person. So uh, and I see you as an entrepreneur and as an intrapreneur, right? Because even though you are not having your own business right now, internally you are creating changes, changes, and you are changing processes, and you are really building a mini company inside your company. So I'm really looking forward to what you are gonna create in the future. Seriously.
Thank you, Angela.
Not big responsibility. Don't not.
No, if it's what it's been, it was a new role in the company that started with me a year and a half ago. So it was a blank plate to create whatever you wanted. So it's it's pulled my creative side to figure out things and and actually make a change and give opportunities. It's been a really fun ride to be able to be part of this program in such a big company and give opportunities to so many companies.
What is your dream about that? What you don't have to go tell us the specifics or the program that you are creating, but what is the dream? What do you see at the end of
Well, I wish just like the balance wasn't something, it was normal now, that it wasn't searching for certain percentages and reach certain goals for a project, but it was just like always a 50-50, that small companies, minority owned, woman owned, were part of the normal ranks,
Mm.
that that's, which is a goal, to get them all up there where we're all the same, where we don't need a client to tell us, can you meet a 30% percentage of diversity? We just do it because it's normal. We have all these colors and all these flavors.
Very, very cool. I always, it's funny. I always, when I go and see like all these goals, right? Like, yeah, you have to meet 10%. And I'm like, 10% sounds like little bit. And people are struggling feeling those, like reaching those goals. And
Yeah,
it should not be only 10. It should be like, yeah, like it should be, as you said, like a tapestry full of colors
yeah,
and ways of thought and skills.
it'll happen.
Yeah, I think it will, hopefully in my time, in my lifetime. But if not, like I have three girls, so I always feel like I hope in the future they will see this, that they have exactly the same opportunities. I mean, and I see that generation now, they are like, they go for it, like they are not ashamed, and I love that
Yeah,
about the generation, right? It is, I think the future is bright having that generation. I see they don't see, I mean, they do see color, but they see everybody the same, like they see. And I love
yeah,
that. And our the older generation needs to learn a lot about
yes,
older generation. So
yes, you're
maybe,
true. The future is bright.
yes, that's how I see it. Well, Maf, I don't want to take more time away from you, but is there any other thing that you would like to share with us? Any comment? Anything that you think is going to be inspiring, even more inspiring for people that
Um,
watch this video?
I think just to believe that anything is possible. I never imagined to be in a managerial role in New York City, living, such a successful career life, and just dreaming is free. Anything is possible. You just put your eyes on a set goal and you go for it.
Why don't you, like you are saying, like I would love for you to share the story on the when you were at the beach.
How did I get here?
Yes, how you got here. I would love for you to share that.
Yeah. Well, when I said that I had so the problems in my country were making me look and open up my realms of opportunities, that actually just like I was so open to opportunities that I was in the right place, the right time, and just things happened. I was in a vacation in Aruba while I'm still working in my freelancing roles in Venezuela, and I'm playing with a frisbee, and this kid comes and he asks us if he can play with us, and we're like, sure. We start throwing a frisbee with this kid for hours, and then the dad comes with a couple of beers, and he wants to have a chat and tells us a joke about, so how much for the nannies tonight so I can go on a date with my wife. And we start hanging out with this very clearly New Yorker man, and his family comes to where we were sitting, and our whole family. And this man happens to be the vice president of human resources of this company. So we hung out for like a week or two. We created a friendship basically, and he heard our stories, and he just offered me, he's my job is to hire people, and you seem like a nice person, and I want to help you. Do you want to come and work in New York? And I was like, I need a visa to work in the US. And he just, I'll get you one. So this company just took all the risk or the blind trust of believing in me, and gave me an opportunity. And that's one of my biggest lessons, or one of the biggest foundations of my thrive my will and my energy to give back, because I am where I am just because somebody had the little vision of giving me an opportunity, like giving me the mic to share my voice. and it's all it takes. So there's a, that's why I like to go to so many events and network with so much people, because all it takes is just somebody giving you the little chance, the little opportunity of space in their ladder. So I'm very, very, very fortunate and grateful for where life just took me.
Yeah, and I wanted you to share that because I feel like opportunities come whenever, like when you don't even expect them, and
Yes.
you can attract them and bring them to you, right? And then just take advantage of that opportunity, because you could have said, if you have um, allowed your fear, right, to take over you, probably this would not have happened. So I guess
Right.
I love this story because you went for it. You took the risk too. It was not only them, right? It was
Yeah.
you took a bigger risk, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moving all by yourself to this big country is not the easy thing, but
right. So the risk was mostly yours.
probably.
Yes, and I think that's a beautiful story because it tells people that opportunities are out there. You just have to be open to explore them and just take the jump, right? Just take the jump and go for it. And life just gonna like it's gonna feel that. It's not gonna let you go down. It's just
Yeah, never live from fear. I mean, the only constant in life is change. And
exactly.
if you just go through it, and if you don't like it, you can always change it, but don't ever like stop yourself from doing something because of fear.
And that's true. Like the only way, I always say that the only way to grow is to leave your comfort zone. That's the only way you can grow.
Yes.
And you did it. And I think that's a brilliant example of what happened. And look at you. Look where you are, being successful here in the United States, in New York, in one of the biggest construction companies in the country. Like, see, like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I like congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to what you are gonna create for the industry, Mafe, and I'm serious about it.
Gracias.
No problem. Thank you so much for your time. I do really appreciate it. This was awesome. I'm sure this is gonna inspire a lot of people, and hopefully a lot of women.
Oh, it was a lovely conversation. And thank you for doing this. This is awesome of you.
No, thank you for your time. I do really for that. Hopefully, I will see you soon.
Yes, please come to New York and visit me.
I will be there.
Yes.